Days when I couldn't live my life without you. Days go by and still I think of you. Days when I couldn't live my life without you. Without you. Without you. Without you, without you, without you.
Yo, what is going on, party people? You know, like every time I do this, I get nervous as hell. It's nerve-wracking. I don't care what you guys think of me or whatever. I may seem very natural on the camera, but to be quite honest with you, every single time I do this, I am super nervous. So guys, welcome to another episode of Chillin with Mendez. And guys, let me just tell you, I can't wipe the smile off my face tonight because here we are, our fourth show, and it's just been so amazing, and the feedback is tremendous, and I wouldn't be doing all this stuff if you guys didn't request it. So before we get started, I just always want to say thank you to a couple of groups out there that are hosting this. So big shout out to, of course, the Classics group for sharing this, and of course, Classic Club Life. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. It's a lot of great things, and you guys do a lot of positive things in the community. So guys, as always, thank you for sharing the feed. And also everybody else that's here, please continue to share the feed, and all y'all on Twitch, make sure you host this on your channel as well. So big ups to everybody that's on Twitch. But before we get started, a couple of real quick announcements. Just want to let you know, hey, don't forget, tomorrow night, I'm going to be DJing Classics for dinner at Patagra in Hawthorne, all right? Reservations is a must. You got to make sure that you give those guys a call over there. And if you were there last time, it was really, really, really good. It was packed. It was great. Everybody stayed at their tables. Classics were flowing. So thank you, Rob, Carlo, and Gino G, for having me there. This will be the second time, and looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow night at Batagra. Also on Sunday, really excited for this one. I'm coming back to the island. I'm excited to see you all, guys. So Sunday at Pomodorinos in Huntington, we're gonna switch it up. I'm not gonna be behind the tables. I'm gonna be actually playing Mr. MC for the day. So we got Suave performing live, and we got the man, the myth, the legend, DJ Glenn Frisha mixing the music alongside Sound Du Jour and DJ DOS. So once again, the information is on my page. Make your reservations by calling or texting. It's going to be so amazing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys all there as well. Also, I guess I could let the cat out of the bag. So, our guests for the last Chillin' with Mendez, we kicked it off with DJ Eddie Baez. Then we had DJ Riddler. We had the wonderful diva herself, Reina, which was an amazing interview. Tonight we got the man, the myth, the legend, Vic Latino, that will be coming up momentarily. But I just want to let you know on September 3rd, Thursday, September 3rd, kicking off the holiday weekend, you're never going to guess who's going to be chilling with Mendez. You guys ready? You guys ready for this one? I'm ready for this one. Here we go. You guys recognize who this is? I know Jersey Shore recognizes who this is. Guys, we have my very good friend, DJ Denny Chetos, is going to be on Chillin' with Mendez to kick off the holiday weekend. So very, very, very excited for that show as well. But for tonight, I'm really, really super excited to get this guy on here. A man that doesn't really need much introduction. I mean, who doesn't know who this guy is? Radio DJ, superstar DJ, TV personality, entrepreneur. You probably saw him as a DJ on Ellen. You know him from WKTU. You know him from Party 105. He's a top Billboard selling artist with all of his mix CDs on Ultra. And touring all over the United States with Mr. Dennis Rodman, and we're going to get into all that fun stuff. But without further ado, it's my pleasure and my honor to bring on the one and only Mr. Vic Latino. Yeah! What is going on, brother?
What's up, Andrew? How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Well, I'm a nervous wreck for some reason. You know, I've never done something like this before, so it's like, you know, it's exciting and it's nerve wracking.
Yeah, you know, that makes the two of us. I've done this 3, 4 times already, and without, I can't even get my words together right now because I'm so super nervous. But you know what? It's really awesome to have you here today. So many people are really, really excited, and you know, when I first announced that you were going to go on this show, something that I didn't really realize that, you know, I'm from Jersey. I grew up in Jersey. I met you from KTU, from all the wonderful nights that we did shows. But, bro, you are like a god on Long Island, man. When I put you on the flyer, I had everybody reach out to me singing your praises about everything that you've done on Long Island at Party 105. So, you know, I guess to kick things off, like, I don't really know much about your Long Island life. I only know much about your KTU life. So why are you such a legend on Long Island?
So, yeah, I'm born and raised in Long Island, Suffolk County. I grew up there. I went to high school there. I graduated from Sachem High School. And I was always, you know, involved in Long Island. Even when I was on KTU, I still lived in Long Island, and I would commute every day to KTU. A lot of people didn't, you know, I would drive 75 miles to the studio in Jersey City, and then 75 miles back home every night. So, you know, Long Island was very special to me, and it still is. You know, I started in Long Island as as a nightclub. So I guess I'll take you back a little earlier in my time.
Okay.
I was, back when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I was emceeing weddings for DJ companies on Long Island, just like all of us did. I worked with Razor, I worked with Scribble. We worked for all the big Long Island companies, Ollie and Too Nice and Echo and all those guys. I mean, Long Island was like a hub for wedding DJs, bar mitzvah, bar mitzvah DJs and MCs. So we started there, and we had our crew. We had our crew, and everybody in Long Island always stuck together.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Ojeda, prime example. I mean, everybody was a tight knit community. We were a family, and we still are.
Yeah.
So, I grew up doing that. From that, I kind of morphed into to doing nightclub promotions, and I was promoting nightclubs. A lot of the stuff in the Hamptons I promoted. We were the first promoters to do 18 and over parties on the water at Summers Beach Club, which was the building right next door to Neptune's.
Okay.
We used to do a ton of stuff there. A matter of fact, you want to laugh at something? I actually did a birthday party of mine at Neptune's one year. This was probably like 1997, 1998, and we had Raina, Deborah Cox, and Big Pun perform.
Woo!
It was like
crazy.
But we did, we did all that stuff, and the great thing about starting those 18 and over parties back then, the audience grew with us, and we all grew together, right? So I used to MC those parties. All my friends were the DJs, and from one party it went to another party, and then before you know it, we're doing 7 nights a week at different locations, and so that kind of got me started in the nightlife, in the Long Island nightlife world.
Mm-hmm.
From MCing and stuff, I was doing stuff with. I kind of morphed into the radio stuff. I was doing stuff with Dr. Dre from Ed Lover and Dr. Dre, from UMTV Raps and Hot 97, and and then with Scribble, and from that relationship, I got introduced to K7 and in the whole freestyle world of TKA and those guys, because Scribble used to tour with them, and he used to be their tour DJ.
Yeah.
He used to be K7's DJ. So I did that, and then from there, I wanted to get on the radio. I felt like I wanted to do it. I was having fun watching all the guys at Hot 97, and I wanted to do it. So I had gone to a radio station in Long Island called WBLI. And there was a guy named Al Levine who was on the air at night, and he was also like the music director. And I got to know him, and he started putting me on the air with him, and that station started becoming heavily involved in all of the events I used to do at nightclubs and stuff. And we were doing well. Everything was going well, and I still didn't know what corporate radio was all about. I was just, a guy with white hair, who just showed up to go on the radio. And they used to send me out, and I would do all stunts. I would do all crazy stuff during the night show. So I did that. But, building a following, it was a constant following that was being built. And at the time, I didn't know I was building a following, because I'm just doing what I love. It was, my passion. It was like I was in front of people. I was on a microphone. Every time we'd go somewhere, people would start to recognize us more and more. So I was like, all right, this is getting good. So it was I want to say it was like 1997, 1998. I got a call from a buddy of mine named Skywalker, who worked with me at BLI.
Okay.
He was a part-timer. And then he had left BLI. He went to a company called Jared Broadcasting, which had WLIR 92.7, and they turned on 105.3, Party 105. And their goal with that was to be an 18 to 34-year-old radio station that owned the nightclubs. So I remember they reached out to me, and they asked me if I wanted to do nights on Party 105. And I remember saying, yes, I wanted the job. And then the next like hour, I called them back. I said, no, I can't take the job because I didn't want to leave BLI. You know, BLI was like this huge powerhouse radio station, and Party 105 was this new upcoming radio station. And then so I remember taking the weekend, and then I ended up taking the job at Party 105. And you know, it was a startup from ground zero. There was, you know, we started and we worked. I mean, the DJs that worked at that radio station, you know, put in the time and effort. And you know, Skywalker ended up working with me later on in my career at KTU. He ended up going to XM prior to the Sirius XM merger, and he's the guy who was responsible for BPM. Sky. So you know, he did good. There was a gentleman who did middays on Party 105 named Leo G. He ended up going to Sirius XM, and he did the Raw channel on XM, the hip hop, the Raw hip hop channel. Murph Dog, who was my co-host on the air with me. He ended up, you know, going to Atlanta, Georgia, then coming back to Party 105, and now he's in Orlando, Florida, working at a country station. There was a guy named Fathead who did afternoons on Party, and he's now the morning show host on a country station in Long Island called My Country. So, you know, we built this radio station, and so, you know, now that we took all the clubs away from BLI. We're doing appearances now for Party 105, and we're doing 1,000 to 2,000 people every night whenever we did a live broadcast. It was such an amazing feeling. I remember getting a call from Frankie Blue and Andy Shane at the time at KTU, and they wanted to interview me because when I was on the radio at night in Long Island, Goomba Johnny and Hollywood Hamilton were on the air at KTU at night. And so they wanted to know who this guy was. So I remember going to KTU one day to meet them. And, you know, later on in life, I find out Frankie tells me, he goes, yeah, I didn't hire you back then because you were too wild. You had that white hair and you were like too unique. So, but, you know, we built something great at Party 105, and, you know, BLI was super pissed off about, you know, the momentum that we were gaining. They actually came to me, and they gave me an offer to move to Orlando, Florida, to start a party radio station for their company in Orlando. So it was 1999, and I took the deal, and I left Party 105, and I decided to move to Orlando, Florida, and I started a station with a guy named Phil Michaels called 95.3 Party, which was, at the time, it was a top 40 rhythm station, but we focused on dance music, and we only played a hip hop song if it went top 5 in the country.
Okay.
At that time, it was the Ja Rules, it was the Shaggies, it was the Eminem, you know, and then we were all about the dance music, but the dance music was very regional. It was very Orlando, Florida, breakbeat. I mean, we had a ton of like DJ Magic Mike, DJ Icy, Shiraz, Baby Ann, you know, all those guys. And we were playing their productions on the air. And I remember coming down there, and, you know, I was riding this high of leaving Party 105, and we were getting some great momentum. You know, here I am now in Orlando, in a city where no one knows me, and I have to recreate what I did in Long Island down here in Orlando, and you know, put in the hours and the passion and the grassroots, and look, I never ever, even to this day, call radio a job because I love it, you know. So, you know, I've been here since 8 o'clock this morning. So it's already 12 and a half hours, and it's like I'm not even tired because it's like I love, you know, it's just the energy and the love for the industry.
Yeah.
So,
well, you know what they say, love what you do, work a day in your life, right?
yeah. So we did, you know, Orlando. 3 months after being there, we took the radio station #1. And it beat a Clear Channel station in the market. At the time, iHeart was called Clear Channel, called XL 1067. And we blew them out of the water.
Wow.
And I had a co-host on the air with me, this guy named Little Sean. superstar. The guy is just an amazing actor, voices, really good-looking Spanish guy, and we just took over the city, and we kicked some serious ass to the point where Clear Channel wanted me out of Orlando because we were affecting them. So I get the call from Frankie Blue, and Frankie's like, I'll never forget. I'm sitting at the house one day, and I get a call from Frankie. And for those of you who know Frankie, very soft spoken. He's like, Vic Latino, are you ready to be a superstar? And I was like, who is this? It's like, it's Frankie. It's Frankie Blue. And I was like, oh man. And then I remember it was pretty quick. He flew me up. I remember it was August. He flew me to New York that weekend. I went to Beach Stock at Jones Beach. I met him there. Met him backstage. He says, do you want to work in New York City? And I said, well, yeah, that's everyone's dream. That's the goal when you're a radio DJ, is to work in Market One. And he's like, I'll be in touch. So 2 weeks later, he sends me he shoots me a call, and it's pretty much like, okay, it's September 1st. You have to be here September 5th. You start.
Yeah.
So I had to, I'm still under contract now in Florida. So there was a whole legal mess with me leaving Florida to go back to New York, but I wasn't turning down New York. So I took the job at KTU. Unfortunately, September 11th happened 6 days after I got to New York.
Wow.
So I didn't actually start. So what happened was September 11th happens. The world's in disarray. I can't get in touch with anybody. Frankie's nowhere to be found. He's busy, doing what he's got to do. Everybody is. And, so now I'm sitting in New York, no job.
Yeah.
I have a job offer, but I didn't start. There's no job. And I get a knock at the door, and it's like a FedEx, and it was a letter from the company that I was working for in Orlando, and they were suing me because I left them. So I was like, so now I'm like, oh man, this is tough, right? So at the time I'm living with my parents in Long Island. I'm like, all right, I just don't know, what the next step is. So Frankie ends up calling me and says, look, things are weird right now. We don't feel comfortable making staff changes during this time, blah, blah, blah. So he goes, what I want you to do is, come in, do some overnight shifts on the air, and you'll be a fill-in jock. So I was like, okay, I'll never forget driving to New York City on September 25th. And I remember getting to the Newport Center Mall. That's where KTU studios were, on the 16th floor over there in that building. And I walked in and I met Little C. Caesar. Little C was there. And he gave me like a rundown on what to do on the board. Like, he was my coach. Mm-hmm. He's like, this is what you're going to do. And then he left. And I remember just being there by myself in the radio station. And I'm saying to myself, oh my God.
Yeah.
My dream is fulfilled. I'm in the studio of KTU, and in about 30 seconds, I have to turn the microphone on and do my first talk break.
Yeah.
And when I tell you the feeling that I got, like, I don't know if I passed out and woke up, but that's how the nervous energy it was. And I did it. I went on the air, and, the rest, as they say, is like history. Yeah. My time at KTU, I can honestly tell you that it was the most amazing 5 years of my life. And when I tell people I was only at KTU 5 years, they're like, get out of here. Yeah. I mean, people still come up to me and say, oh, I love listening to you on KTU. And I'm like, I haven't been on KTU. It's been 15 years. This November is going to be 15 years since I've been on KTU.
Yeah.
And but we were at KTU, and when I say we, the whole team, because I was only as good as the people that I worked with. And, together as a team, we were unstoppable at that place. I mean, from the morning show to Diane Pryor, to Broadway Bill Lee, to Jules at night, to Charlie Berger on the overnight, Little C. I mean, everybody. We took that station to the next level. And what we did was, we just put our heart and soul into it. And I think what made me stand out was that January of 2002, I became full time.
Mm-hmm.
I became full time at night, and KTU was going through this transition. The New York radio landscape was different. There was no Power 105 at the time. At the time, it was Jammin' 105, and it was playing like rhythmic oldies. So we basically were playing the the 90s dance stuff that made KTU popular, and some dance remixes that were done by Thunderpuss and Mike Rizzo and all those guys. So we stood out. What I was able to do, and I think to this day I'm forever indebted to Frankie Blue and Jeff Z for allowing me to do a radio show the way I wanted to at night.
Yeah.
Those guys, as long as I was entertaining people, and as long as I did what I had to do, they gave me free reign, and it was amazing. So I was able to get in there, and we immediately were doing stunts, and we were doing I would send out the KTU party crew to do stunts and stuff that I was doing in Florida that that nobody was really doing in New York, especially at night.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, and then from Florida, I had like drops from like Angie Martinez, and also I'd be running the Angie Martinez Loves Vic Latino drops. Absolutely. On KTU at night when I was, going against Funkmaster Flex. And, I would call Flex up on the request line over there, and I would play it on the air. I mean, we were just having so much fun. And, from that show, we started doing mix shows. And, I would do a 9 o'clock, I'd call it the house party at 9 o'clock, and we would do a mix show. And every night, I remember when we first started it, I would have a different DJ every night of the week. The first Monday nights, I used to have a buddy of mine named Bobby D'Ambrosio. And Bobby D was from B96 in Chicago. And he used to do all the mega mixes, like jock jams and stuff. He used to do that stuff. And then I had Johnny Buds on. He did a mix show. The Riddler did a mix show.
Actually, Riddler right now. You want to say hi to Rich? Hey, Rich.
What's up, Riddler? And then we had DJ Riz and Sizz, the Crooklyn Clan guys. They would do their mashup mixes on the air, and we just started just working, and it was like whenever we went somewhere, we had an entourage of people, and it was just such a great feeling. And from that radio station, the doors just kept on opening up. It was, I wasn't only doing radio on KTU. We were doing appearances, we were doing events, we were doing charitable events. Then the TV opportunities came in. I started doing television stuff. The opportunities came to put out mix CDs, and I'll never forget. I was approached, my good friend Hazel Zaletta and Victor Lee from Tommy Boy Records.
Yes,
they were the first ones to approach me, and Hazel, even to this day, my biggest supporter. I remember when Hazel approached me, she's like, "I want to put out a CD with you," and I was like, "Okay." And I was like, "Well, Hazel," I was like, I haven't DJ'd in years. I've been just talking on the microphone for the last 6 or 7 years." Mm-hmm. She goes, "Don't worry, you're gonna have to start practicing, but we're gonna put together a CD." So at the time, Heaven, DJ Sammy's Heaven was like a huge record, and a lot of people were doing those 80s dance remixes, right? So Hazel and Victor and Tom Silverman and the crew over at Tommy Boy, they were like, hey, let's do a CD where it's all 80s remakes.
Was
So
that
I'm like,
on the cover? On the cover, though.
yeah. So I still have white hair, because I had white hair at the time. I have white hair now, but it's not from, not because I dyed. So, so we do a photo shoot. They make me look like Billy Idol
Yes.
on the cover, and we put this CD out, not knowing, what's going to happen. We do it. So the best was, they give me a track list and they're like, okay, go mix the CD. I'm like, how am I? I'm like, I remember I was just sitting there dumbfounded. I was just like, how am I going to mix the CD? So I remember calling Jason Ojeda.
Yeah, Jason.
I said, Jason, I need your help. I said, Tommy Boy is putting out a CD, and they want me to do it, and I need help. And he goes, what do you need? I said, I need you to teach me how to DJ the right way, and I need you to mix a CD. So he ended up doing it, and we released that album.
Yeah.
The 80s Now, and it was #1 on the Billboard dance charts.
Yeah.
And and I tell you, it was because I was on KTU, because that platform just gave me millions of listeners, and it just gave me the opportunity to just really just promote myself. And, it really was an amazing opportunity. And so, we did that CD. A few months later, we released Summer Vibes, which was, it was like Hazel was like, we need to do something for Florida. You still have a name in Florida. You were big in Orlando and Miami. So we did the Summer Vibes CD, and that CD was more break beats. It was a lot of the break beats. It's funny story about that CD is, to this day, I get people who send me pictures of their car when they're in their car and they're listening to like Pandora, or they're listening to Sirius XM. And when DJ Sonique, It Feels Good comes on in their car, it shows the Vic Latino Summer Vibes album cover.
Oh.
so everyone's like, oh, we're listening to you on the radio. I was just like, it's not me. It's Sonique.
Wait, so, it's funny. I was talking to Jason the other week, and he said, he was telling me that you guys met at CPI, or what happened there?
Yeah.
What's up with that story? You told him something?
Oh yeah, so my friends and I were, when we were younger, we were smart asses. We were wild, and I remember we were out in the Hamptons, and we were at Spratz.
Oh, Spratz.
Spratz on the water. And at the time, Hot 97 was there doing a live broadcast. We somehow made it upstairs to see Glenn Frischer, and we made it to see Paco Lopez at the time. He was the DJ that was live. And so Paco gives me his card, right? And so then we leave Spratz on the water, and we drive all the way to CPI, my friends and I, because that's, when you're younger, that's what you do. You drive 50 miles to go to another nightclub. And we get to CPI, and Jason is killing it. He's rocking it right now. And we somehow make it into the DJ booth, right? Now, Jason. Nobody goes in the DJ booth when he's there. We made it in the DJ booth, and everyone's like, how'd you make it in the DJ booth? So I gave him the business card. I told him I was Paco. So next thing you know, Jason's got 3,000 people dancing in CPI. And what do? He gives me the microphone. So now I'm on the microphone in CPI. And that was how I started my relationship with Jason.
He didn't tell me that you got on the mic, though. That's pretty cool.
He let me get on the mic. He made me part deaf, too, in my left ear, because he had that stupid train horn in there.
Yeah.
So, but, it was, but, we've all been friends ever since. I'm sure he probably told you about how my hair became white, right?
Yeah, he did. I don't know if you want to talk about that story, but please go for it.
I'll give you the brief overview of it. So it was one winter music. This was when the Winter Music Conference was fun.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. When you used to go down there and you used to go to the panels, you'd want to learn from the DJs and the mixers, and then you would go to events and whatnot. And so I had gone down there with Razor, Guido, Scribble, Jason Ojeda, Jerry Motomo, Rob James, the whole crew.
The whole crew.
All of us. Ali, Two Nights, everybody who DJ'd for Double G, Heart to Heart, everybody was down there. And, at the time, Razor was into bleaching his hair white. So we're at the pool at the Fontainebleau one day, and I said, hell with it. I'm going to bleach my hair. So we go back to the room, and he bleaches my hair. It comes out like orange. We have to bleach it again. It comes back like a lighter shade of pink. We finally get it white. That night, we end up going to Liquid, Madonna's club, and David Morales is DJing there. And I had never, ever been to a circuit party, been to that type of nightclub before. Me, I was living in 18 and over world in Suffolk County, Long Island.
Yeah.
And here I am now in South Beach, Miami, during Winter Music Conference with all the boys, right? And
shirts off.
We're inside a Liquid, right? Well, whatever. These guys are, we're all there drinking, dancing, having a good time, and I end up in the DJ booth with David Morales, and they're like, how the hell did you get in there? It was like round 2 CPI.
Yeah.
And that was it. So
you slipped the Paco Lopez card to get in there?
No, we just did it. I mean, and that was like, that trip really made me fall in love with dance music. And this was, I was at Party 105, so that was in the 90s. This wasn't even, KTU times. And that was my, my story with Jason. So, back to KTU. So here we are now. We're releasing all these songs, these albums, and now all these guys that I used to look up to, you become friends with.
Yeah.
And it's like you become friends with like David Morales, and he looks at you and he's just like, man, I feel like I know you. And I'm just saying to myself, oh gosh, yes you do. And it's like, we used to go to oh God, what was that club in Miami that Danny Tenaglia used to spin at?
Ace? Was it?
No.
Cameo?
No, it was it wasn't Cameo. It was a small spot. Anyway, it'll come to me.
Yeah.
But it was, Danny Tenaglia. We used to go to, we would go to all these parties. And, like I said, the Winter Music Conference back then, prior to Ultra Fest, was amazing.
Yeah.
What an amazing event for dance music and the purist. And just, as much as it was an event to learn stuff, it was an event where people who were in dance music, who worked really hard for 359 days a year, were able to go down there for 6 or 7 days and just relax and have fun. And you really, it was amazing. And you would look forward to like a DJ playing an acid tape and playing a new record, and that would be the anthem that came out of the conference. And I remember I couldn't wait to get back home to Party 105 and get whatever that anthem was and play it on the radio.
Yeah, those days, those days in Miami, before Ultra, I used to look forward to going there because it was so close knit, and I got to meet all these people that you're naming. And a Jersey guy like me having access to like the David Moraleses and the Danny Tenaglias at a pool party, where it was just much more of a community then before it got commercial. It was just such a good time. What was it like listening and like really falling in love with house music down there? Like, what was one thing that just you truly like embraced and you're like, you know what, I love this music?
So I really think that music is definitely felt differently based on the environment that you surround yourself, right? Mm-hmm. So I think strategically placed, that Winter Music Conference, even though it was spring break, was strategically placed at the right time of year, because us coming from the Northeast, we would be freezing our asses off all winter long. Yeah. And then here we come down to Miami in March, and it's beautiful. The water is turquoise, and the palm trees and the beach, and you're just like, it's just a different feeling.
Hmm.
I mean, it's just, you just don't get that same feeling when you're standing on line outside of a nightclub in New York City when it's 30 below zero.
Correct.
You might get it once you get inside,
Hmm.
but down in Miami, you get that feeling the minute you touch down on that plane, and it was just a great vibe. And God, so many years we went down there, and over the years, my involvement with the Winter Music Conference evolved more and more. Um, Unfortunately, I didn't end on the best of terms with Winter Music Conference, because there was one year that I was to host the Winter Music Conference Awards,
Uh-huh.
and I got the Miami flu the morning of the awards
Oh, wow.
from going out with all my buddies the night before, and I ended up having like 103 fever, and I was in bed all day. So I ended up missing the awards that I was supposed to be hosting.
Hmm.
So, but you know, I miss those old Winter Music Conference days. Bill Kelly and Carrie Vance and all those guys from Winter Music Conference. It was a lot of fun, and I tell you, I learned a tremendous amount of information about the music industry, the recording industry, radio, how radio works, and it was really a good time. And I think the closest we got back to that was when Promo Only was doing the summer sessions in Atlantic City.
Hmm. Yeah.
We got really close to that, and but those were amazing times. Those Winter Music Conference
Yeah.
days.
It's thank God that you fell in love with dance music and during that time, because it was such a big part of your career, especially being at KTU. Um, when did the whole so you started coming out with your CDs on Ultra? Like, how did you make the transition?
So yeah, we
Yeah.
so it was we were I was so I'm at KTU now. It was during the KTU days, and by the way, the house music stuff that I would fall in love with in Miami, we used to play in Long Island at Party 105. I mean,
Mhm.
we would come back from Winter Music. First of all, the entire staff would go to Winter Music Conference, right? All the DJs, everybody, DJ Theo, everybody would come, and then we'd come back and we would say, okay, I was at this party. This was the big record. I was at that party. This was the big record. Oh, this was the record that was big everywhere. And then we put it right on the radio.
Mhm.
I mean, I'll never forget DJ Theo and Skywalker. They they had remember Melanie C. I Turn to You.
Absolutely. Or rocker.
Yeah, so I mean that record started on Long Island on Party 105. I mean, it started in the clubs, but as far as radio, I mean, it was started there, and there was a ton of music that came out of that radio station,
Mhm.
and and we were able to take ownership of it. And look, she's my sister, Raina. I mean, we've been together since 1997, 1998 to Party 105 days.
Yeah.
I remember, the first time I heard Find Another Woman, and we had Anything for Love and all her songs, and we played them all on Long Island. And remember Nervous Records, Mike Weiss had all the big records, Byron Stingley, Charlotte. We played all those records, and that's what made Party 105 so different and so special. And I remember people would come out to the Hamptons and they would fall in love with the radio station.
Yeah.
And they would always talk about the radio. We didn't have streaming back then, so if you wanted to listen to us, you had to drive out to Eastern Long Island and listen to us there.
Yeah, I actually got a crash course on Party 105 before I spoke to you from Dimitri T, and he essentially said the same thing. You guys were breaking these records out before anybody else, and I think that's why it was so legendary on the island, and why even to this day everybody still talks about that station and what you guys did that.
Yeah, it was organically homegrown, and like I said, every one of us that worked there put our blood, sweat, and tears into making that thing a heritage station on the island. And so that's where we were able to truly express our love for dance music, and really just we would champion a ton of records out of that radio station. We back to when I was at KTU, we started putting out these CDs, and the I was a Tommy Boy for the first two CDs for 80s Now and Summer Vibes, and then Patrick Moxie from Ultra and David Waxman approached me and said, "Hey, you had some great success with Tommy Boy. Would you like to come over to Ultra and put out a CD with us?" And it was Ultra, so we were like, "Yeah." So the first CD I put out for Ultra was with David, and it was Ultra Dance 5.
Yeah, it was.
With David Waxman, and we put that out, and then the second one was Ultra Dance 6 with the Riddler.
Yeah, I think I have that somewhere. No, that's Ultra.
Yeah, which that had Silver Logan Sharp all this time. When we did with the Ultra records, we wanted to take the biggest club song at the time and put it together with the biggest pop remixes that were on the radio at the time, and that was pretty much the synergy that we put together, and that was the strategic plan with those CDs. And we always wanted to have that big club record in there, and that was a great time in music. I mean, everybody was putting CDs out.
Yeah.
Louis was crushing it with his CDs, and it was just amazing. It was a good time for music. So I did the two CDs with Ultra, and then a guy named Ricardo Venus from Thrive Records had approached me, and he saw the success we were having at Ultra, and he said, can you come over and do a CD for us? So I had one more CD left on my contract with Ultra, and we released that. It was called One Night in NYC.
Mm-hmm.
It had like Cascada on it, and a bunch of other songs that were big at the time. Released that, and then I left Ultra. I went to Thrive, and I released Thrive Mix 2, which was on Thrive Records. Scribble had done the first Thrive Mix.
Yeah.
I did Thrive Mix 2 and then Thrive Mix 3. And then I left Thrive to go back to Ultra. And then, no, before I went back to Ultra, I did a CD that nobody knew that I did. I did it with Mike Weiss, and it was called Nervous Nightlife. And it had the Peter Lutz and Domenico, What a Feeling.
Yeah, that was a big record.
That was huge. I mean, what happened?
I remember that CD.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that song still to this day one of my all-time favorites. Just something about that What a Feeling song. It was. I think it was the last song I played on KTU actually when I left KTU.
Was it?
So, yeah, and that was right about the time when I left.
Mm-hmm. Out of all the CDs, somebody asked. I thought this was a great question. Out of all the CDs that you came out with, do you have a favorite one that you did, or they're all as good?
So musically, I love them all because they all have songs that we cherry picked for each CD during those times. The CD that is the most sentimental to me is Ultra Dance 6.
Yeah.
That was a tough year for me when we were recording that album. My best friend, my cousin, my best friend, he was a police officer in Long Island. He passed away in duty, and if you listen to that CD, the Ultra Dance 6, there's a mystery track at the end, and it's my cousin's voice. I took his voicemail recording and I put it on the CD, so this way it would be with me forever. His voice would be with me forever. So it's actually track 13 on the Ultra Dance 6 album. Mm-hmm. And dedicated the album to him, and it was so that one has the most sentimental value to me out of all of them.
So before we move forward with your I Hate You, I mean, you got to do some pretty amazing people. Who are some celebrities that you really enjoyed either talking to or hanging out with, or that was just maybe you're like, I thought this person would be the biggest jerk, but you know what? They were so nice and so cool. Like, you got to talk to everybody, so I'm sure you know.
I had this conversation with someone the other day, because when I sit back and like my kids don't really know about Vic Latino from KTU days. You know, my two older daughters were too young at the time, and my other three children weren't even born. So they just know me as a dad who works, you know, every day. They don't really know the Vic Latino that you folks in Jersey and New York and Long Island even know.
Yeah.
But I tell you, you know, some of the most amazing things I did at KTU. Because of being on KTU, I DJ'd for Thalia during the Latin Grammys at Madison Square Garden. I was her DJ on stage for her performance. I interviewed everyone from, and here's the great thing about KTU. Frankie Blue used to always tell us, he goes, when you have a superstar on the air, he goes, they're going to want to come in and out of this studio really quick. They're not going to want to spend a lot of time here. He goes, but our listeners, other than hearing them on the radio or seeing them on TV, don't really get to spend time with them. So when you have an artist in the studio, your goal is to keep them there as long as you can.
Yeah.
So, you know, classic Vic Latino. I'm like, all right. So I remember the first year I'm on the radio. It's right around Mother's Day. And we're doing a contest called, you know, what's your favorite station? Where we would just call random phone numbers up, ask the listener what their favorite radio station was. If they said KTU, we give them $1,000. And if they didn't say KTU, we would hang up and call someone else. Like, and that was the contest. So that night I'm on the air, and I get a phone call, and it's Whitney Houston, and I'm interviewing Whitney Houston, and we're talking about her songs and her life and everything. And, you know, Bobby Brown is in the background and Dionne Warwick's in the background. She's yelling at them. And so I'm telling her, I'm just like, hey, Whitney, you know, I got to do this contest where I got to call up a listener and ask them their favorite radio station. You want to do it with me? So she's like, she agrees to do it. So we start calling people. We call like 2 or 3 people, and nobody gets it right. They hang up on me. They say a different radio station. So I'm like, all right, Whitney, thanks for trying, blah, blah, blah. And I hang up the phone with her, and we start, you know, I go back to doing my show. About 10 minutes later, Brandy, who was my producer at the time, comes in. She's like, Vic, she goes, pick up the hotline. I'm like, what's up? She's like, it's Whitney Houston again. Whitney Houston again. So I pick it up, and it's Whitney. She's like, oh my God, Vic, I had so much fun, you know, doing that with you. She goes, let's call my nephew. Let's call my nephew. So I'm like, I'm doing this live on the air now. So we call her nephew, and, you know, he doesn't pick up the phone. So then she's like, call this number. You know, she's asking Bobby for phone numbers. She's asking Dionne for phone numbers. And then she's telling him, when he asks what their favorite radio station is, say KTU, KTU. So she's going back and forth. And then so we find her we get like a relative of theirs that live in Newark, and they end up winning the getting it right, and they win. And then I remember I said, Whitney, I said, you know, it's Friday and this Sunday is Mother's Day. I said, you know, my mom's a big fan. She goes, oh, let's call her up. And we called my mom live on the air, and she sang to my mom and wished her a happy Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, it was just an amazing experience with her. Some of the other notable things, like I remember LL Cool J came in once, and we did the, you know, I used to do New York's Most Wanted, the top 88, and I ended up replacing all the songs with LL Cool J songs, and he rapped them live on the air. And he ended up spending, you know, the whole hour with us, and you know, that was just you know, an amazing interview. Mary J. Blige, TLC, the list goes on and on. It was just Tyra Banks, like it was wild.
Did you ever get started with anybody?
You know, when I was in the studio, it was like my bubble, right? So I would get into that studio, and I would turn the lights down. I would take the temperature, drop it down to 60 degrees. At the time, I was endorsing Trim Spa, the diet pills.
I remember
that had ephedra in them.
Yeah.
I'd take 2 of them, drink a Diet Coke, and, you know, 60 degrees, I'd be sweating, and then, you know, I was in my zone.
Yeah.
And I would get off the air and I'd walk out of that studio, and being on the radio for 4 hours, I felt like I ran the New York City Marathon. Like my body was physically exhausted from like, when you're DJing it to a big crowd, you get that exhilaration and that energy.
Yeah.
And doing that 6 days a week, it just, it was just amazing. So I wouldn't get starstruck in the studio. I get starstruck if I just met someone like behind the scenes or at an event or something. Then I would get a little starstruck. But the one thing that I learned over my career is never treat anybody like a celebrity. They're just normal. It's like we're all normal people, and if you really want to get on their good side, ask them how hard they had to work to get to where they are. And when you hear their story and they see that you're personally interested in their story of their growth, they become your mutual friend. They become friends with you. And it's been like that, my whole career, with everybody. We've all become friends with each other.
Yeah. Personality fit, I guess I could bring up. I mean, so you DJed and you went on tour with Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
What was that like?
So, so I had met Dennis a bunch of years before I was at KTU when I was at Party 105 in Long Island. And there was a club called Flying Point, which later became Space. It was in Bridgehampton. And Dennis, Lou Branchinelli, Lou B, used to be the promoter there. And he brought out Dennis to do this, to host the event. And this was when Dennis was like, wearing the dress, the wedding gown, like it was crazy. Well, I shouldn't say crazy.
Normal
Dennis is Dennis.
Yeah.
But he was a little more eccentric back then, right? And
was that
I remember
Donna probably?
Yeah, so I remember we're at the club and Dennis is not having a good time. He wants to leave, but he was only there for like 10 minutes. And Lou's stressing. He's like, Vic, you got to help me. Vic with white hair, it's like, so next thing you know, I'm drinking Jägermeister with Dennis Rodman and we're drinking, we're dancing. We get up on stage, we get on the microphone and we're jumping on this stage as hard as we can. And I remember this guy jumped so hard, his foot went right through the stage.
Oh my God.
And it was wild. But, so I had met him. And then that was it. I went my way, he went his way. Fast forward now to to right when I'm leaving KTU. Ruben Martinez was my manager and agent from Nene Music. And Ruben was putting together these packages where DJs were with celebrities. That was the time where Tommy Lee was traveling with DJ Arrow, and Joe Madden was out there, and Scribble was doing stuff with another rocker. So Ruben had approached me and he said, "Hey," he goes, "do you want to do something with Dennis Rodman?" And I was like, "Man, yeah." It's like, let's put it together. So the first gig that we do together was we get booked at the nightclub inside of Foxwoods Casino.
Okay.
It was Foxwoods, and I remember that a limo comes to my house and picks me up in Long Island, and then we go to JFK and we pick up. Dennis flies in and we pick him up, and we're in the limo. In the back of the limo, it's Dennis, myself, Breeze. You remember Breeze? Of
course.
Breeze was my right hand man. Breeze was in the limo with me, and my other buddy Mikey Pan, who's my other right hand, was there. And we get in this limo, and Dennis is in the limo with us with AJ, who was his handler / road manager, and we go up to Foxwoods. Man, he did not look at me or say a word to me the entire 2-hour drive to Foxwoods.
Wow.
So I remember getting out of the limo, getting into my hotel room, and I called Ruben up. I was just like, "Are you sure this is supposed to work? Because this guy, is not talking to me or anything." And so whatever. I go to sleep. I wake up. I take a shower, get dressed. We go downstairs to meet to meet with Dennis, a half hour before our DJ set starts. And, we're at the bar, and, we just start talking. And, I said, what are the chances that this guy is going to remember, 10, 15 years back in the Hamptons?
Yeah.
And I just said, oh, what the hell? I said, Dennis, you remember being in the Hamptons and, at this club, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, yeah, my foot went through the stage. You're that mother effer, blah, blah. He's like, and he gives me like this big hug, and everybody's looking at me like, and from that point on, it was like, we did it. We just went on the road and we did events. I mean, the second event we did was the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
And then, we just started doing these events. And, the most amazing thing is, I tell people all the time, you look at these celebrities on Instagram and Facebook and the social media influencers and stuff. And, yeah, they might have 1 million followers, and, on that platform, they might be popular, or they might have a lot of people watching their TikTok videos.
Mm-hmm.
But, there's only a handful of people in this world that can honestly say they are true celebrities. And, Dennis Rodman is one of those people. Hulk Hogan is another one of those people.
Yeah.
It's like they're bona fide stars. I mean, I would be walking through an airport in South Africa, okay? And people would point at Dennis and recognize him.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, that is a superstar. That doesn't happen, with every celebrity.
Yeah. I'm sure not too many people know the magnitude of what you guys did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut to a quick clip just to show the people what you went throughout this whole entire tour, because it's really something. So guys, check out this quick clip that you guys are just...
I don't even know what you're going to show right now.
No, it's nothing crazy. It's actually a highlight video of your shows with Dennis Rodman. It's
okay.
Truly amazing. Nothing crazy. Here we go, guys. Okay. Check this out. It's truly amazing. Bro, what? Yo, come on, man. That shit was dope, bro. Come on.
I'll tell you, it's like, so,
What?
that video, we actually So when we first started going to Spain, we used to do this circuit party called Supermarché. This promoter Nano, he loved Dennis and I, and Patty Ito from Set Me Free Agency was our agent over there. So they would put us on these tours, and it was a circuit party. So I remember the first time, they tell me what we're going to be doing. So I go online and I start looking at like videos, and I see videos of people having sex in the nightclub. Like, I'm just like, my wife is going to kill me. so, but so I'm like, I'm going to lose Dennis on this one. I didn't even tell him what we were doing. He just knows that we're going to Madrid. So I remember the first time we get to Madrid, we land and we go to, we would fly into a city in the morning, sleep all day, DJ at night, leave at 4 or 5 in the morning, fly to the next city, sleep all day. That was our schedule.
Yeah.
So we get to Madrid, and we're staying at this hotel in Madrid. Dennis is sleeping. I can't sleep. I'm excited. I'm like nervous, exciting. I go for a walk around the hotel, and I'm right outside of the Bernabeu Stadium where Real Madrid plays, and I'm like a huge soccer fan. And I was like, I see that they have a game that Saturday, that we're there, and I'm like, we should go to a game. So I call the promoter. I'm like, can we go to the game? They're like, no, unfortunately, we need you to do sound check, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So we go to this club, Fabric. I don't know if you've ever heard of Fabric in Madrid.
No.
The club holds over 15,000 people, right? So it's got an indoor and outdoor. That indoor that you saw had 12,000 people in it that night.
Wow.
And we actually broke a world. No, not at that one. That was at a different club. I'll tell you about that in a minute. So attached to that club is a brothel. Like, there's a brothel attached to the club.
Hey, whatever floats your boat out there, I guess.
Crazy. So we get there, and I remember, like, I put together a DJ set, and I'm like, all right, I had a buddy of mine DJ'd in Spain a lot. His name is Juanjo Martin, and he was another DJ on the circuit. So for Supermarché. So we start talking, and very tribally and soulful. So I'm like a nervous wreck, and they're like, no, just come in and do what
you do.
Do what you do. So I'm like, all right. So we get there, the club's packed. It's like 3 in the morning, and we're gonna go on at 3 in the morning. And Dennis was gonna put some. They wanted Dennis to get dressed up in a costume, but he didn't want to. It was our first time there, so we didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
So he just keeps his baseball cap on, and we go out there and we start spinning and playing music. And I had never played for that many people in my life. Most I ever been in front of was like 1,500 to 2,000 people at Mirage in Long Island.
Yeah.
Even like the casino stuff that we were doing in the States was 400 or 500 people. Nothing crazy. These were 12,000 people with their shirts off, ready to party. Like, you could not go wrong. So we went in there, and it was the fastest 2 hours of my life. But let me tell you something. It was so much fun. I remember being in the DJ booth, and I'm DJing, and this was the highlight of my trip. And as I'm watching the crowd, right, I see like the crowd break open, like the seas are opening, and I see all these security guards just like walking down the side of the dance floor, and there's 3 people that are with them, and they bring those people right to the DJ booth. So I'm DJing, don't even realize what's going on. I look over, and it's Cristiano Ronaldo, Kaká, and another soccer player named Tulio Di Maio.
Oh, snap.
And they're in the DJ booth, and I was like, they wanted to meet Dennis. They were huge Dennis Rodman fans. So, that was the advantage of being with Dennis. Everybody wanted to meet Dennis. So you would meet so many amazing people and celebrities. So I remember leaving that club, and we went right to after that club, we flew to the Canary Islands to DJ. While we're in the airport waiting for the jet to fuel, we're sitting there, and Dennis has just got his headphones on, and he's always singing and dancing and stuff. And Eddie Vedder comes over and says hi to him. Like, yeah, like it's just amazing, man. It was surreal. And and that's where we embarked on that tour. And the following summer we went to Ibiza. And we did and it's funny, right? Here's the crazy thing. To me, I was just DJing with Dennis, right? I was going somewhere to DJ with Dennis, and it was, I was just going to do what I love.
Yeah.
To my friends who really like honed in on their craft and did this their whole life, I was living I was living a dream that they wanted to fulfill. And I remember when I told my friends, "Oh yeah, I'm DJing at Privilege tonight in Ibiza." They're like, "What?" Like, what? And I remember we get to Ibiza, and this is a funny story. We have to DJ at Privilege, and so we get there, we land, they take us right to Privilege, we do a sound check. I look at this club in the daytime, and I'm just like, geez, there's like the DJ booth is in the middle of a swimming pool.
Yeah.
You have to take a bridge to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So we get there. At the time I was using Tractor, a Final Scratch by Tractor at the time. So I set up my computer, and we leave. So we go back to the hotel. We eat dinner with the promoters, and we're at the sushi place right across the street from the Ibiza Grand Hotel. Mm-hmm. And it's Space is not Space. Pasha is right across the street as well. So we're in the club, in the restaurant eating, and David Guetta and his wife are 2 tables away from us.
Oh snap!
So the people that are with us are explaining to Dennis how the #1 DJ in the world is sitting 2 tables away, and in Ibiza, DJs are gods.
Yeah, absolutely.
So so we're sitting there, and I remember David gets up and comes over to say hi to Dennis, and Dennis stands up and says, "You're not the #1 DJ in the world." He goes, "He is." And he points to me. And I'm just like, "No, don't do that, Dennis. Don't do that. Don't do that." And then he looks at David and he says something like, "And your wife, I like her tits." Like some crazy stuff like that. And
that only Dennis could get.
He gets away with it. So we leave, we go, and we do this, we do Privilege. Dennis gets dressed up like a geisha girl, and he's on fire. We have so much fun at that club. Go back to the hotel. We have 2 hours before our flight. So I'm like totally drained. So I'm like, "Dennis, I'm going to go sleep for 2 hours before we fly because like my adrenaline has got me wiped." So I go to sleep, and about an hour and a half later, I get a knock at my hotel door. And I'm like, "What the hell's going on?" And it's the hotel manager. And he's like, you need to come with me right now. I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "What did I do?" Yeah. I was sleeping. I'm in my shorts and a t-shirt. So I throw on my sandals and I go walking downstairs, and Dennis is in the jacuzzi with like 5 naked women in the back of the hotel. Like, "You need to get him out of here. You need to get him upstairs." I'm like, "I'm not his handler. Like, you gotta do it." So it turns out I didn't know what had happened until the next day when we got to our next city. Patty, the agent, called me up and told me what happened. When I went to bed, Dennis walked across the street to Pasha. He went into Pasha while David Guetta was DJing, went in the DJ booth and got on the microphone and said David sucked on the microphone, and then walked out of the club. So
what?
It was, and then he left and he came back to our hotel and he was hanging out there, and it was, we actually were a band from that hotel. We could never go back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won't. That happened to us a couple of times in a couple of different hotels.
I was
Um,
gonna say probably not the first or the last in that whole entire.
yeah. The following year we got invited to come back to Ibiza, and we did the Ushai Beach, the pool party at Ushai, the hotel.
Huh?
And it's Ushai, yeah, Ushai it's called. So we did that pool party, and that was just an amazing, you know, that pool party. It was that was during the time when Swedish House Mafia was huge, when the guys were together,
Mhm.
and they would do the Wednesday party at Ushai. So we had come in and we did the Tuesday party before them
Mhm.
and the day before them. And I remember the next day when I was leaving, those guys were there doing their sound check, and it was like, I played on the same stage and setup that those guys, played with, and it was just an amazing, amazing experience.
Yeah. Looking back at, I guess, what you've done in dance music and the huge impact that you had and all the events, the DJing, the traveling, what is probably one of the biggest takeaways you got from that learning working in the dance music industry?
You know, with dance music, it never got the right. Uh, it just it's to me, dance music, as popular as people think it is, it's still underground. It's still not mainstream.
Hmm.
It's still not, a couple of songs make it mainstream. There's so much to dance music, and it's a culture, it's a lifestyle, and you know that lifestyle, every time it would progress, it would get kicked in the nuts and sent back.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, when we were at Party 105, it was progressing with those artists like Melanie C and the Nervous Records and the Strictly Rhythm and the Groovalicious artists and all those artists. And then it got kicked back. And then, when I was at KTU, you had the Lucas Pradas, the Rainas, the Kim Sazis, all those artists, right? The Chris Willises. And right when dance music was about to pop, something would happen and it would get kicked back. And you know, it just, for some reason, I don't know if it's the people that work within the format that are the format's worst enemy,
Hmm.
or if there's just not enough people doing it that are passionate about it that continue to do it.
Yeah.
So it's tough, but you know when dance music is on point, it's on point. It really is. And to this day, when I hear a good dance record, I still get goosebumps on my arms, and I know it's going to be a hit, and you want to support it, and you know there's no one championing that sound anymore, that's doing that.
Yeah.
you know what we had, when I say we, guys like you, Denny, all the Jersey guys, the New York guys, that was a special. We that was special. I mean, what we had in the Northeast United States, I've been around the country, and it just doesn't exist. I mean, we had our I don't want to say, like, we had a clique. You know what I mean? And you know the music guys that were the Hashgarellis. I mean, everybody was. It was just like one big family.
It was.
And for some reason, over the years, it kind of just fell apart. And maybe it hasn't fallen apart. Maybe I'm the one who just fell out of it. I don't know, but it just feels like it has gone in different directions.
Yeah, because I could never figure out myself why it just ended or whatever happened to just like that family atmosphere, or like was it just because with the departure of like Jeff Z and everyone from K2 falling to the side and the program changes there. If now I'm thinking about it, there wasn't, when K2 just like changed the format, there wasn't really a good hub to listen to dance music, I would say. And at the time, you had to pay for satellite radio, and it was still relatively new. So that, I guess now I'm thinking about it, that would probably be one of the reasons why it probably faded. 'Cause
Yeah,
that
it,
nostalgia
it, it was
of,
it was sad.
yeah, that team
It
of
was,
everyone from
yeah,
K2 just, faded away.
yeah. And look, everybody, went to do great things, and they're still doing great things. Just nobody has continued to champion, that dance music sound. And I think because my personal opinion would be, as the rise of the DJs came, specifically the European DJs, it became easier to say, okay, Armin is releasing a track and he's doing, 30,000 people at a festival. So let's just take his track and blow that up.
Hmm.
And it just became a numbers game, in my opinion. And there wasn't any passion behind it. You know, when I look at our friends, I'm 45 now. So like my friends, there's a story behind every record. There's passion behind every dance record that we grew up with. You talk to anybody about Winter Music Conference days. There's passionate records that came out of there. It was there was passion behind it. Like Jonathan at Sound Factory, there was passion behind the songs that broke out of there. Um, you know, I've yet to find someone to tell me that there was passion of a song that they heard when they were at Tomorrowland or they were at Ultra Music Fest. No, it was just a bucket load of people having fun. That passion was lost somewhere.
Reina is on and just commented that, it was a movement then. It was such a movement with important people behind it. And thanks
Yeah.
for that comment, Reina. What's up, girl?
What's up, girl?
We got Reina on. Big Eugene from Jersey.
Huge.
He's on. DJ Riddler is on. So just wanted to shout those guys out.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, dance music was such a big part of your life, but like, what are you doing now? You actually transitioned out of it and you're doing the rock thing now, right? Classic rock?
Yeah. So when I left KTU, um, I had done some stuff on XM radio, some stuff on television with Ellen, and then I ended up going back to Long Island, and I was burnt out from radio when I left K2. I had a busy 5 year run, and I had other businesses that I had invested in that I was running, and in 2008 I had the opportunity to go back and with my partner John at the time we bought Party 105, and it was the first radio station that I actually became an owner of, and it was the first radio station that I started. So it was an emotional tie-in, and it was came full circle, and we built that company in multiple formats, classic rock, news, country, Spanish. We had stations all around the country, and we I moved down to Florida in 2018, and I started a new company down here in West Palm Beach. And the first station that we started was an oldies radio station. It's 60s and 70s rock and roll. And Scott Shannon from CBS in New York is one of our DJs on there. And the Birdman, he used to be on VH1 back in the day. He's our morning show host. And then now what we're doing is the latest project that I started is a rock station. It's not really classic. It's a hybrid. It's called the finest. It's Palm Beach's finest rock. And what I've realized over the years is that you know radio listeners listen to a lifestyle. When you listen to a dance station because it's your lifestyle.
Hmm.
Not necessarily because it's a dance station. It's everything about your life. People used to listen to KTU when I was there, because it was a lifestyle. On Memorial Day weekend, you were either at Temptations or you were going to CPI, and it was like the Hamptons, it was the Jersey Shore, and it was like, it was a lifestyle. I mean, and people outside of New York and New Jersey will never understand the Jersey Shore lifestyle. It's not Snooki and DJ Paul. It's not.
No.
They will not understand that. They will not understand the Hamptons lifestyle. I mean, that's what to me, that's what made radio fun. Number one. Number two, that's what made me successful in radio, because I was part of that lifestyle, and I was bringing that radio station to that lifestyle, and that lifestyle was involved, and that's what it was about. So, with that being said, right now what I'm doing is, we've created this format, and it's a rock format, but it's 90s rock music, that and I have friends of mine who look at me, and I used to always tell them that I would never do rock music because I never liked rock music my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember sitting in my office a few months ago, and I'm listening to rock songs and I'm singing along to them, and I'm like, well, so much for the guy who hates, rock music. so, so, I, so, we started putting this format together, and it's the best classic rock that, used to be on the radio when you were in the car with your parents.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best 80s and 90s rock that you yourself know, right? And it's the poppy stuff also that's in all the movies and stuff. And we put this thing on the air, and we put it together. And the next step, the next phase that we did was, similar to, when I was on KTU, we put a mix show on. We have this guy named DJ Paulie who does a Friday mix show. And tomorrow, or Friday, you can tune in and listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I put myself on the air from 2 to 6, and I'm getting used to the rock stuff. But when I'm on the air, it's not about the rock stuff. It's about bringing that energy, to elevate the lifestyle and to make people love the music, and that's it. And some of the characters that I used to have on the radio with me when I was on KTU and Party 105, I brought their voices back, and we're doing it on the air. And you don't need to know everything about Leonard Skinner to be a DJ on a rock station. You just need to know the good song to play, and you just gotta you have to have the right energy for it. And I tell you, I might be. I say this truthfully. Either the station is going to take off like a rocket ship, or it's going to come crashing down like a freaking meteor. But I tell you that the response that we're getting has been great, and it's a different twist on your rock, like regular rock music. And I have friends of mine that are in rock radio, and they've listened to the station. They're like, the mix of music is amazing, and the energy is great. It's all up tempo. And the funny thing is, the program director of that radio station, he came from he historically was a Spanish radio programmer.
Uh-huh.
His name is Chief Raymond Hernandez. And before he came to work with me to start the Surf, that's the name of the rock station, the Surf, he was at a dance station in Miami called Revolution 935. He was the program director there. And when he left there, he came up to me, and I remember sitting with him, and I said, I think a 90s pop rock format in this market would do well. And he goes, well, what do you know about rock music? And I said, nothing, absolutely nothing. I go, I just know a good rock song when I hear it, something with a great hook, something that sounds familiar. And, so we handpicked the entire library, and we put it together, and, we're rocking and rolling with it. And it's if you can listen, if you have the iHeartRadio app, you can pull it up on the Surf Palm Beach.
Mm-hmm.
The website is thesurfrocks.com. Facebook is, the Surf Rocks. And I'm on from 2 to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday. And, unfortunately, we had other DJs on the air, but because of COVID, we had to furlough them. Mm-hmm. So, I didn't want to ruin the continuity of the station. I never thought that, that Vic Latino would be back on the radio.
Yeah.
I kind of, when I left Long Island radio after Party 105, I was, I kind of hung up the headphones, and I wasn't going to be on the radio anymore. I was just, taking care of my family and running my business. And, about 3 weeks ago, I said, I'm going to go on the air, and I'm going to start, doing it. And I got to tell you, no matter how much stress I'm going through right now, and, the world's in a bad place and stuff, I had lunch with Kid Kelly. Remember Kid Kelly from Z100?
Absolutely.
He lives down the block from me down here. And we went to lunch, and he was like, he goes, Vic, he goes, you got to just go on the air. He goes, just don't give it up. Go on the air and use that 3-4 hour air shift that you do as your like alone time, your meditation. And I got to tell you, the last 2.5, 3 weeks that I've been on the radio has just been amazing. It's been so much fun. Um, you know, I don't think I have more than 100 listeners right now because we're just starting.
Yeah.
But it's phenomenal. It really is. It's a lot of fun, and I'm having a blast. And and if you miss it, I'm kind of kicking myself in the ass that I hung up my headphones a while ago, and I should have never done that because at the end of the day, being on the radio is what got me to where I am today. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
thank you. You're doing what you love now. You have that opportunity to do that. So better late than never. I know you said you're like in your 40s. I'm in my 40s too, but we're still young, man. We still got it. We still got it.
Yeah, still young.
Is there anything else that you want to like close off with, or?
No, that's
Can you
it.
believe we've been talking for an hour and a half?
I know. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Jeez. It's funny because I'm getting texts. My Raina texted me. My best friend Jeremy and Mikey texted me. My daughter Miliani and Mia texting me pictures.
That's so cool.
So, thank you for keeping it G-rated on the Dennis Rodman stories.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, no, that's it. It's, I'd like to, take this opportunity if I haven't done it in the past is thank all the people who helped Vic Latino. And I say it in third person because, Vic Latino wasn't just one person, one guy. I wasn't just Vic Latino. Vic Latino was a team of people that put together Vic Latino. And I was just a lucky man who was able to carry the torch and do what I did. And, throughout my entire career, I have met some amazing people and worked with even more amazing people. And, all those folks have gone on to do amazing things and still continue to do amazing things. And, now more than ever, it's really good to pick up the phone and say thank you to people, that helped you out along the way. And to me, I wish I could pick up the phone and call every listener that I ever had on the radio because, everyone from, Crazy Susan, who used to call me from Staten Island to the little kids that used to call me. And, those people made me want to go to work every day. And the music made me want to go to work every day. And, seeing my friends like Lucas and Raina when they had a new song come out and knowing how difficult it is to write a song, produce a song, and being able to play it and see their dreams come to fruition, that's priceless to me. I'll never forget those moments in my career because that's what it's about. We as DJs we're just a conductor that get to help catapult everyone, in the music business. And, so it's awesome to see them. And I tell people all the time, support your local people because we're local. I'm local. I started local. I'm still local. And, I go to the same supermarket that you do and I buy the same food and we all, so when you see someone out there busting their ass and releasing a song and posting it on Facebook and Instagram for people to listen to, it doesn't cost you or take you anything to like something. Give them a like. Leave them a message. Say, hey, Lucas, I listened to the 10 Steps remix of And She Said, are you going to do another Super Sweet 16? You big chooch. But you know what I mean? So that's the stuff. And, we're getting older. So, we have families and stuff. So, I still say this. It's like, who's the next Andrew Mendez? Who's the next Vic Latino? Who's the next Jason Ojeda? Where are those guys? Because don't look at us old guys as guys that are, have an ego or are not going to help you. No, we want to help you because if you guys don't take those right steps moving forward, our industry and our format is just going to fall to pieces. We got to help those guys. And, so, I'm always willing to lend a helping hand. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've put on the radio and tried to help along the way. And, you know, I want to keep on doing it if we can, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, what I can say, and I get this feedback a lot throughout this pandemic, and there's a lot of DJs that are doing these live streams, right? Especially the ones that have been pretty consistent in it. And thankfully, I've been consistent with these live streams and even now doing these shows. I'm going to tell you that there is hope with the next generation because I get tons of messages from people that are like, "Hey, man, I was watching your show with my kids, and they want to buy DJ equipment in order to learn to DJ like you. And we have these house parties on Saturday night, and my kids love you, and they all want to be DJs." I probably get about a half dozen messages like that a week.
That's great. And that's, look, you know, specifically during the pandemic, you know, I've watched you and your crazy marathon sets, and I say to myself, "How you doing? You know, how are you doing?" And I see Jason doing his backyard sets, and Razor did his set from Brooklyn, and you know, it's just, to me, at the end of the day, you know, we're watching a guy or girl who's in love with a specific music format, and they're playing their passion out for people. And you know, if there's one thing that this pandemic shows us, is that it doesn't matter if you're, you know, a top 10 DJ in the world like Bob Sinclair, right? It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, Bob is playing in his bedroom just like everyone else is. So, you know, it really, like, you know, if there's going to be a silver lining in this, I think you're right. It's going to be, you know, the exposure that everyone is getting from being online together.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Vic, I think I took up enough of your time. It's now officially an hour and 40 minutes we're going on, basically.
All righty.
Dude, I just wanted to say thank you so much for doing this with me, man. Like, it meant so much to me that you even agreed to do this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you know what I noticed? You and I are wearing the same colors. See, look, we got great taste.
Yeah, there you go. All righty, buddy.
Vic, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate having you. Hey, guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Once again, the one and only Vic Latino. We thank him for everything he's done for us in the industry. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Once again, don't forget, tomorrow night I'm DJing at Batagra. Sunday we have Suave in Huntington at Pomodorinos. And also, don't forget, on the next Chillin with Mendez, September 3rd, to kick off the holiday weekend, we got the one and only Denny Chetos. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Have an amazing evening, and I'll catch you next time. Thank you for everything. Peace out.